Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. So, you've done it. You brought home that incredible high-end TV. It's the centerpiece of your room. But now what? Suddenly all these questions pop up. How do I actually use this thing without ruining it? When is it even time to think about upgrading? And what do I buy next? Well, today we're going to walk through the unwritten owner's guide for your premium TV.
You know, this is a fear that I think a lot of us have. You spend all this money on a beautiful piece of technology, and the last thing you want to do is mess it up. And that anxiety, it usually centers on one single, very tempting setting: brightness. So let's just tackle that head on. All right, section 1. This is probably the most common worry. You want that stunning, bright picture you saw on the showroom floor, but you've probably heard someone say that cranking it all the way up is a bad idea. So where is the line between actually using your TV and abusing it? Well, there's a big difference between the theory and the reality here. In theory, yeah, more brightness means more power, more heat, more stress on all those little components. But the reality? These premium TVs are engineered knowing you're going to push them. They are literally built to handle that kind of demand. And we have some real-world proof. Someone actually ran a Samsung Q90C at maximum brightness for 2 years straight. Now, this was for typical viewing, some YouTube, sports, movies. And the result? No noticeable drop in performance. No obvious picture degradation. The TV just handled it. So the main takeaway here is pretty simple. Don't stress about it. Seriously, trust the tech. Most of these TVs have an ambient light sensor. Just turn it on and let the TV do the work. And when it comes to HDR content, go for it. Crank that brightness. That's exactly what the TV was designed to do. At the end of the day, how much you watch is way more important than the setting itself. And believe me, if these TVs were failing left and right because of brightness, we'd all know about it. Okay, so you've been enjoying your TV. It's great. But then the next phase of ownership kicks in. Every single year, a new model comes out, promising to be even better. This, my friends, is the upgrade dilemma, and it is a powerful, powerful temptation. This feeling is so real. You look at your TV and think, this thing is still awesome, so why do I feel like I'm being left behind? Let's take a great example, the Sony A80J OLED. It's a fantastic TV. Even years later, the specs hold up. 4K, 120Hz, HDMI 2.1 for gaming. It checks all the major boxes. So why on earth would anyone even think about replacing it? Well, before you even think about grabbing your wallet, you gotta ask yourself a few honest questions. First, HDR pop. Are those bright highlights in movies still wowing you, or do they feel a little flat? Second, are you actually missing a feature you need, like Dolby Vision for your movie nights? Third, and be real with yourself here, is this whole thing really just about getting a bigger screen? And finally, the most important question, is that small, incremental difference you might see, is it truly worth thousands of dollars out of your pocket? Okay, so you went through the checklist, you've done the soul searching, and you decided an upgrade is happening. Now the real fun starts. Because the decision these days isn't just about screen size or brand, it's about picking the core screen technology that's right for you. This is it. This is the most important question you need to ask. Forget the marketing hype for a minute. The performance of your brand new TV is going to depend almost entirely on the room you put it in. And that brings us to the two big players on the market today, OLED and Mini LED. So let's just break this down nice and simple. If you watch TV mostly in a dark, controlled room like a movie cave, OLED is your champion. Its pixels can turn off completely, giving you perfect inky blacks. But if your TV is in a bright living room with lots of windows, a powerhouse mini LED is probably the better bet. It gets crazy bright to cut through all that glare, even if you lose those absolutely perfect blacks. But look, the screen itself is only part of the story. You have to live with this thing every single day. Do you prefer the feel of LG's WebOS or Sony's Google TV? Are you a big-time gamer who absolutely needs all 4 of the HDMI 2.1 ports you get on something like the LG C5? Are you a movie lover who has to have Dolby Vision, which, by the way, you won't find on a Samsung? Even the screen finish makes a difference. These little details can totally make or break your experience. And one final warning, bigger is not always better. We call it the overkill factor. Just picture this. You put a massive 98-inch TV just 6 feet away from your couch. You're not getting an immersive experience, you're just getting a headache. You're literally paying for screen real estate you can't even comfortably see. So after all this, what's the one big takeaway? It's pretty simple, actually. There is no single best TV for everyone, period. This is the absolute truth when it comes to buying a TV. You can read every single review, you can compare every spec sheet, but those numbers on a page can't tell you how a TV is going to look in your living room with your lighting to your eyes. The perfect TV is always a deeply personal choice. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought, right? Every year, these companies get closer and closer to what they call a perfect picture. But as the tech gets better and better, you have to wonder, what does perfect even mean anymore? Maybe it's not some technical spec. Maybe perfection is just the picture that looks best to you in your home. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this explainer, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.